Boom, 8109 or texting. Hello, BBD, how are you? Anyway, hey, guess what day it is? It is the post-Christmas hangover, December 26th. I know it's depressing. Christmas is over, but New Year's is on the horizon. Okay, we are live. We are in the Commonwealth for our second episode. We are in Northern Mass. Cannot disclose the exact location for purposes of eluding the FBI. I am the redoubtable one. I'm the highly questionable one. The redoubtable one will be back next week. I'm the highly questionable one, RJ Miliaccio, and it is another privilege. We have another guest today, a Syracuse basketball alum and a best friend.
Oh,
a best friend.
Thanks.
He was in my wedding. I was in his wedding. We go back 16 years old, right? We met at 16 years old, right? So this is 33 years.
Wow.
That's a pretty remarkable number there. 33 years.
It's hard to believe neither one of us killed each other. So
well, we did. We plotted.
We
thought about it. I mean, it's come up.
Plans have gone awry.
Yes, I know. We got to fire that tight ass Hanner, and he's never getting anything right. Anyway, This is a dear friend. This is Jimmy Hayes. Good to have you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Good to see you, brother. Happy hangover. Yes. We are in another basement at another bar. It's wonderful. And the billiard table is behind us, just so you know. So anyway, we're going to talk 2 segments tonight. We're going to discuss at length the nauseating, deplorable, despicable, and yet found another way to lose. Just when you think they couldn't find a way to lose. I didn't get it either. See, even my watch is like, I didn't get it. Yeah, I don't get it either. The Patriots found another way to lose. It's amazing how resourceful they can be.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible. So we're going to talk about them in segment 1. Now, segment 2, my good friend here was at the Celtics game yesterday.
Beautiful game.
Big showdown against the Bucks. Celtics delivered. Mr. Tatum, 41 points. We'll go to that in segment 2. But we're going to get the misery out of the way first because we're in Massachusetts. Misery loves company. So, but Jim, now here's the thing. He's a diehard like me, longtime Pats fan. He's been watching this team all season, and again, he's in the heart of Patriot Nation. He's just on the North Shore. So we had the South Shore look. Now we got the North Shore. You're getting everything, folks. You can't sit there and say, well, you didn't give her an angle. Oh, we got them all covered. So he's on the North Shore, and we're going to get a North Shore look at this team. Now, again, he didn't see half the game the other day, because he went to a party. He was smart. Okay, so if you notice, I surround myself with smart people. So you notice that? So he caught the first half of this debacle, and it was going where we thought it was going to go. It was 22-0 at the half. Oh. So they somehow, I don't know if the Pats manned up or Cincinnati fell asleep. I don't know what happened there. But we'll get into the game in a second. But you've seen this team pretty much all season. Mm-hmm. So forget yesterday for a minute. Before yesterday, where were you at in terms of what you thought where this team was? Because, of course, there's still 3 games to go. They're still mathematically in it to actually get in. Actually, they still
20% chance.
20% chance. And actually, Miami lost at home to the Packers. And guess who's coming into town this week?
So
Miami. Beat Miami, and you might be in. And then they got Buffalo.
Beat Buffalo. Then they're in.
And they're in, yeah. Buffalo might be playing for nothing, though, which might be the silver lining here. But anyway, I haven't asked you this yet because we haven't talked in a while. Before the other day, where were you at with what you've seen with this team so far? What was your frustration level? What did you think? Wholesale changes, minor changes, tweak 1 or 2 things, or complete? Where were you on this?
Whole school. Significant changes are needed. But it's not just in one given area. Whether you're talking about the absolute shame of an offensive coordinator or actually a defensive coordinator that should not be in a position of offensive coordinator. No. Whether you're talking about putting Mac Jones in a position in his second year following his rookie year that doesn't have the coaching, doesn't have the development opportunities that he should have in this position. Never mind the fact that he doesn't have the offensive weapons that he should have. Then you tie in completely not having a strong enough offensive line, and then going for 3rd and long on almost every single occasion, hoping to pick up a first down, and can't score when you're in the red zone. So there's a multitude of things that need to change for this team.
Yes, a multitude. And that's and it's funny you mentioned 3rd and long, because it seems like that's a normal thing now.
A screen pass on first down, run on second down. Someone's
going
to get 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12, penalty.
The guy whose name we kept forgetting, who used to be for a long time, who was an ex-Marine, was the Pats' longtime offensive line coach. This dude was amazing. He took a wrestler and turned him into a Pro Bowler, for crying out loud. And his name escapes me, but he was there for like 30 years. He was there longer than Belichick was there. So he stepped down, and his name will come back to me at some point in this segment. But then they bring in Joe Judge.
Mm-hmm.
So as bad as Patricia's been, then there's Joe Judge, who's coaching the offensive line. And as I asked Ian the other night, and I'll ask you, I mean, when was the last time you saw an offensive line with this many penalties, this many false starts, this many? I mean, you got to be shitting me. So no, to his point, there's a multitude of blame pie here to shovel out. But at the end of the day, as Mr. Arrogant himself, Mr. Ego, said, well, the buck stops with you. Okay, Bill.
Yep.
The buck stops with you. Let's talk about that buck for a second. And I posed this question to Ian. And I wanted your take on this as well. If Kraft, and common sense would tell us that Robert Kraft, who said before the season, kind of fired a warning shot across the bow when he said, yeah, we haven't won a playoff game in 3 years. And that's kind of the way he said it. Okay, like, yeah, it's no good. No bueno. Assuming they don't get in, and even if they did get in, they're going to get bum blasted in the first game if they do get in. But, I mean, if they don't get in, which is more and more likely, if Robert Kraft was to go to Mr. Belichick with an ultimatum this offseason and say, look, you either change this coaching staff or we go in a different direction altogether, where would you be on that?
So I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, why?
Because, and I guess the question I still have, and that I believe has kind of been floating out there, is Belichick and his $20 million a year. Mm-hmm. And if he's still under contract through what I've heard through other networks through 2025.
Okay.
I mean, Kraft isn't just going to write a check for $60,000. Maybe they can $60 million. I wish it was $60,000.
Yeah.
Could write that check easily.
He can write that check.
So, I mean, what are his options with Belichick? You either you really. Well, the ultimatum is more getting his house in order, which is really what he needs to do.
Well, this is the thing, and maybe it won't come.
Maybe he trades him.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't come to this. Maybe Belichick, we're hoping, looks at this and goes, "Okay, I gave it a shot. I messed this up, but he can change it." Maybe he does it on his own.
Yeah, no, and that's what we're saying.
Which is very possible. Maybe it doesn't come to Kraft having to go down and knock on the office door and go, "We have to have a talk." Maybe it doesn't come to that. I was just saying, if it did come to that. Because, look, this has been a disaster. They've stunted Mac Jones's growth. This is your first-round pick. You've invested a lot into this kid. And he made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. He didn't forget how to play football. We had a party last night, Christmas party, and good kid. I like this kid. But he has a red Bailey Zappi Patriots jersey on. I almost threw up in my mouth. I'm like, are you really going to ruin Christmas? I haven't been here 5 minutes. That's the first thing I see. And this kid's adamant that Bailey Zappi is the savior. I'm like, oh, for the love of Christ. And the reality is that Matt Patricia's been a failure in basically everything. Bill Belichick glossed over him. Because if you think that he was running that defense here when he was here, he wasn't. He may have had the de facto coaching title, but he wasn't running that defense. He wasn't. Bill Belichick was running that defense. He was not. And he proved that in Detroit.
I forget who you're talking to. If you're talking to me or
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. But what I was going to ask you is that now, is Mac Jones at all to blame for this? Do you think? At all? Is he culpable in any way?
Yeah. I mean, I think every player is culpable for their position, for their role.
Yeah.
And he's got a key. He's got a highlighted role. He's got the primary role in that team. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's got a responsibility. Mm-hmm. But when you balance that across all the other deficits and challenges on that team, there's a level of accountability that Mac Jones has and needs to have.
Sure.
And I think he's heard quite a bit from some of the whining and some of the way that he's been raising his concerns.
Yeah.
That he needs to have greater ownership and accountability. Yeah. But at the same time, we talked about all the other challenges that are on that team that aren't putting himself in a position to succeed. Mm-hmm. And I think that's when you go back to talk about Kraft and Belichick, is that Belichick has to get his house in order. Yeah. Which he does not have right now.
No, he does not.
I think all that ties in. That ties in with then the individual play and individual accountability for Mac Jones and other players on the team.
Now, the thing I heard this week, one good thing about being back up here is now I have Sports Talk Radio up here, so you get the local media involved, And what's buzzing out of there now is, and maybe you've seen this, maybe you know this, maybe you've talked to somebody, but the players never bought in to this system, this offense, because of Matt. In the summertime, they came to the realization then, this is the opinion right now, that this wasn't going to work. Most people were of that opinion in the summertime anyway. But it seems like, or what it sounds like, is the players as a whole were having serious doubts about this before preseason ended. Okay, which is not a good sign when you have playoff aspirations, because you're in the playoffs last year. There's no reason to think they shouldn't make that jump in year two. Are they going to overtake Buffalo? Maybe not, but they should be better than they were last year. That's if you're building something, that's common sense 101. But did you hear anything about this, or did you suspect?
No,
based on what you saw,
especially on the sports talk shows that you hear up here. Yeah, there was a lot of questioning, and not having official titles for the offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, not really making that, changing the offensive strategy. Maybe that's necessary based on the age and maturity of some of the players, but hearing it from the players, no. And I think Belichick has always done a good job with his team on keeping things close to the chest and not communicating issues or concerns to the
airing
public.
Your laundry in public is what you're getting at. Yeah.
Exactly.
But yet there seems to be a lot of that this year, for some reason.
Right, because they're losing.
Yeah, whether it was Kendrick Bourne, the lineman Andrews there, who backed Mac Jones, and now Mac Jones, to his credit, at least has said the right thing. He's like, look, that's I'm competitive. I'm trying to win. That's in the heat of the moment. That's on me. I got to be better. He's owned that. To his credit. He has not pointed the buck and said those things. But then you see these things on the field, okay, because the camera's not lying. What you're seeing is what you're seeing, okay? So, and he's had visual disputes with Matt Patricia on the field, so much so where he's waved him off at a couple of points because they can't even get the plays in on time, Jim. I mean, this is week, 16, 15? I mean, I understand that in preseason. I understand that in the first month of the season because you're still kind of eyeing up the king. I get that. But now they're in the midst of trying to make a playoff run. And, Ian brought up the point the other night about that first drive against the Raiders where they had to call 2 timeouts because the play that was actually the right one that would have been a touchdown had they let it go because he hit the guy in the corner of the end zone. 2, they couldn't get the right play in. They couldn't get the right personnel in for the right play. I mean, this is week 15. Yep. What does that say to you? Is that coaching? Is that the players? What is that?
I think it's a combination of both, and that's what you typically see. You can't blame one individual play, but you see the trends. You see the increased number of penalties, which is so non-Patriot-like. You see the number of incapable ability to get first downs. All of it ties in. I would definitely go, if I had to weigh in, is it the coaches or the players? I would definitely go with the coaching strategy. Yeah. And go back to not having your ship in order, not having things ready, and it's too late. Now
this is the other thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, what can you do? How do you change this now?
Right.
You can't. You got 2 games to go, and you actually can get in the playoffs.
Right. So in order to beat the Dolphins, they're going to rely heavily on the defense. I mean, because it's going to for Patriots to win next week, it's going to have to be a low-scoring game.
Which is very possible, given what Miami's been doing lately.
And which they won't be able to do against the Bills.
No.
But there's no reason to look 2 weeks ahead.
Not really.
You still have to beat the Dolphins next week.
Which leads us to the other day, Cincinnati. Now, I was full disclosure, I was in Quincy at the Fours having a pre-holiday brunch with my wife's family. Game came on at 1 o'clock. So I saw the first half there, and it went basically the way we thought it was going to. Joe Burrow was picking them apart left and right. It almost looked like the Patriots didn't want to be there. It was like that was the weird thing. Then I get in my car and I drive to wherever it is I'm going, and I put the game on. All of a sudden, whether it was Cincinnati fell asleep at the wheel, the Pats defense, which, by the way, they are good on defense. They are. They got some studs on defense. But they locked them down the defense did in the second half. They took a pick 6 to the house. Suddenly, Mac Jones is throwing down the field as opposed to these stupid, ridiculous bubble screens that drive you up a wall. And suddenly, Kendrick Bourne morphed into the little brother of Randy Moss, and he starts making these catches in the air and double. And like, who the hell are these people? What happened here? And they make this miraculous comeback and get the ball, and then they stop them again, force a turnover, only to get first and goal at the 6. The clock is on your side. You even have the timeouts. And your best weapon fumbles the ball on the 6-yard line. And again, it was more of a, that's who they are. You're not even surprised anymore.
Right.
I mean, were you surprised when you saw that?
No.
No.
I was shocked, disappointed. Yeah, I was surprised, but because everyone's looking for the win.
Yeah.
And
they actually fought back.
This season, the way things are being played, the way the team is not being the – I mean, again, how do you compare to the 20 years that we've had?
You can't.
Of just dynasty.
They never made these mistakes.
Exactly. So
in these situations.
Why are they making these
mistakes? Why are they
mistakes?
making them now?
Exactly.
This is the thing. And it's a different – the thing is – before, there was a different guy every week finding a way to help you win. Mm-hmm. Now it seems like it's a different guy every week finding a way to help you lose or contributing to a loss. And these are guys that are actually your better players. Jacoby Myers last week. Ramondre Stevenson, who's a bull in a china shop. He's going to have well over 1,000 yards. He's averaging like 5 yards a carry, I might add. He's been terrific pretty much all season. Mm-hmm. Except for the last, if you want to blame him for that lateral back to Jacoby, whatever. I mean, Jacoby Myers should have looked that, went F this, and got down on one knee. Okay, I'm not going to, but the other day, when forward progress was stopped and there's 4 guys on him, it's first down. Go down. Just go down. The clock is on your side. You got timeouts. You got a minute. Well, just go down. What are you fighting for at that point? You're going backwards. And then the guy comes in, he pops the ball out. And here we are.
Here we are
again, sitting at a bar going, what the fuck with this team? So, in any event, Miami comes to town, to your point this week.
Yes.
You said defense
is going to be key.
It's going to be key on this. Now, here's the good news. Miami doesn't look like Miami lately.
No? 4 losses in a row?
Tua doesn't look like Tua.
No.
Lately. He had 3 picks in the second half against a defense that I don't believe is as good as the Patriots defense.
And to your point, the Patriots have some defensive studs. They can put pressure on them. They can get them out of the pocket. They can make them uncomfortable.
As of this morning,
that's what we're going to need.
You have no idea how right you are about this. As of this morning, anyway, the Patriots are number 2 in the NFL in sacks. Philadelphia is 1. That's no surprise, right? But the Patriots are number 2 in sacks. The Patriots are number 7 in the league in total defense. The Patriots are one of only 9 teams that are giving up less than 20 points a game. So, to his point, the defense has been the strength of this team. But in week 1, down in Miami, when they lost, the defense held Miami to 13 points. And they lost. So at some point, when is this offense going to do something? Something. And if it's a matter of somebody going, all right, you know what, Matt? Just hold on. Someone has to take charge of this play calling system. Because to your point, when you know what's coming, and I know what's coming, and Dan Orlovsky on ESPN knows what's coming, and that means everybody knows what's coming. Dan Orlovsky, I don't know if you saw this last week after the Raiders game, he broke down every single, because this is what these guys do, okay? The Patriots were under center 23 times. They ran 22 out of 23. They were in the shotgun 34 times. They passed 31 out of 34 times. And what does that sound like to you?
High school level offensive line, offensive play.
Predictability.
Yep.
And Marcus Spears, who's the defense, you know who Marcus Spears is, the defensive guy. Dan Orlovsky goes, hey, Marcus, you played defense for 9 years. What do you guys do every week in film study? And he goes, we break down every formation an opponent is in and the probability of what they're going to do, run, pass, and every position. He goes, what does that speak to you? He goes, they're predictable.
Yep.
And everybody knows it. Now, how does Bill Belichick not know it? I guess is my question. Because if he's the smartest guy in the room, which is what you and I have been trained to believe for 20-something years, how is this still going on? That's all right, Jim.
You and I are led to believe. All right, yeah, he's a subject matter expert. He knows.
Ian called him a savant.
Yeah,
a savant.
I think
he's forgotten more football than you and I put together. We'll ever know. Is that fair to say? I would actually agree with that. Yes.
That doesn't make you a natural-born leader.
No.
And he has. I mean, without a doubt, for the Patriots dynasty for years, he was able to, exceed with teams and do unbelievable things with teams.
That didn't have a lot of talent
for the last 3
sometimes.
years. Exactly. But now he's in a position where, and this where it gets back to, he's had better positions, he's had better coaches in those key areas. And to your point earlier, even when Patricia was defensive coach, it was still the Belichick show.
It was still Bill's defense.
Yeah.
So,
and now he has neither of that. So defense is going to have to win it for next week. Right, so my prediction is a lot of field goals.
No, you can't get out of here that easy.
Yes.
You got to give me a score. They're at home.
All right.
Now
you're going to have to do the same then.
We're both going to do this. But I want to ask you, so it's in Foxborough. It's going to be cold. This is where Miami, they struggle in this situation normally. They struggle in cold weather. They actually did very well in Buffalo a couple weeks ago, but they went home and laid an egg against the Packers. So they're in disarray. The passing game's in disarray. That dude, though, is still running around there, that kid called the Cheetah. Mm-hmm. He's still out there. Give me a score and who wins.
Patriots win because it's a must-win. It's a critical must-win. They're going to win 22-17 with one touchdown and the rest field goals.
Is that right?
15 points.
Is that it?
Yep. 3 times 5.
He knows that shit off the top of his head.
That's what it was going to be.
This is an environmental engineer touch, by the way.
Just so one touchdown.
Oh, yeah, one touchdown. 5, yeah, 20.
And it might even be a defensive pick six. But they're going to get one touchdown.
They got one last week.
I know. I think there's a higher likelihood of a pick six and 5 field goals.
They got one by the way, just so you know, when you have a pick six, the teams that do that win 93% of the time, and the Patriots still find a way to lose.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you got 22-17. All right.
I went into detail on how
you did, so I have to match this, but that was good. And what you said made sense because the defense has been the best part of this team all season. Mm-hmm. So it's not that we said you can't just change. They're not going to change this. That's got to be the key. The defense has got to dictate tempo. Now here's the silver lining. Miami's defense is not very good. Mm-hmm. It's not this is not a defense. You look at they don't scare you. They've got a shot. The Patriots have to play a clean game. No turnovers. Number one, no turnovers. Number 2. They've got to play action pass. They have the running game to do it and they've got to get these receivers vertical because whenever they do this, Mac Jones is successful. They haven't done it very often, which pisses everybody off with this bubble screen bullshit. But if they get these guys down the field with the play action, which they should be able to do, I think this would be the game, barring a nor'easter hitting again. If the weather's just cold, I think the Patriots can put up 28 points on this team. And if they do that, I think they win 28-17.
Wow.
But I
think that's bold.
It is bold, but it's now or never.
Yeah.
You just said it yourself.
No, I agree.
This is the season. They have to win this game.
They absolutely have to.
If they're going to try and salvage this season, they have to win this damn game, or it doesn't matter.
No.
So to me, this is the one time they're going to say one of them, and maybe it's going to be Belichick. It's going to be Belichick. He's going to say, "Fuck it. I want them going down the field. I want play action. I want 2 tight end sets." Because they got 2 tight ends. What the heck? They're screwing around with these 2. They're both talented. Why are we wasting them? There's another question. Oh, yeah. I mean, just do it. You have the pieces to do this. Just do it. It doesn't take rocket science. It'd be one thing if you're trying to reinvent the wheel. They're not. They've got the weapons. Dare I say, they've got an offense Tom Brady would kill to be in right now. Because Tampa don't have an offense like this at all. And these are all the pieces you'd put if Tom Brady was here. Because you would. So I've got 28-17. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Wow.
But it is bold. But this is on the assumption that Bill Belichick's going to actually take over, get a pair of nuts, and try to save this season because he knows this shit. I can't believe this is stubborn, not stupid. He's stubborn. He's not stupid. At some point, you got to stop being stubborn. You do. You got to go, you know what? Fuck it. We have these weapons. We're going to use them this way, and that's the end of it. And if he does that, they have the quarterback. Mac's good enough to do this. He knows how to run that type of an offense. That's why they got him. Okay? So you've got 22-17. I've got 28-17. We both got the Patriots. Oh, God, we're fucking screwed.
As long as we're not looking to Buffalo yet.
We're not. No, we're not.
I know.
Why would you utter those words?
I know.
You know, you're an athlete, but Syracuse alum, bam. We're going to get into that in segment 2. We'll take a quick break. We're going to grab a beer. We're going to come back segment 2. Positive Positive. The Celtics.
Positive
He was there in the Garden yesterday. Mr. Tatum showed up. We got to break down that one. I want to where his current state of the Celtics are. Ian and I were bitching about him before the Minnesota game. They beat Minnesota. They walloped Milwaukee. They showed up. And I want his take. He was there. And I want his take on that and where he thinks they're going right now. That's segment 2. We'll be right back. Grab a Frosty Beverage. Merry post-Christmas here from the North Shore. That is one Jim Hayes. I'm the highly questionable one. We'll see you on the other side.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Right back.